Today on a special edition of Judge Faith, a look back at some of the over-the-top exes who discovered the hard way that online dating can be a disaster.
He came to me and asked if I would co-sign for a loan for him to have some plastic surgery done.
30 days after you meet someone on Grindr, they ask you for over $9,000.
And then
we were just friends, but I come home, she want to start offering me massages and rubs. This is not
So
that
she
type
was
of party.
forcing food and massages on you.
Yeah.
plus,
And you're right, after so many red flags, I am aware that something is not right.
So you're dating him and he's not with you on Valentine's Day. Isn't that like red flag number
Yes, it was.
27?
and later,
Part of my profile says I'm looking for somebody who's generous. He liked me. He was buying me gifts.
Sir, do you know who Kanye West is? Find someone who loves you like Kanye loves Kanye.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith.
Welcome to a special edition of Judge Faith. When it comes to online dating, we've seen our share of disasters. Our plaintiffs have logged on to look for love at almost all of the dating sites, from Tinder to Black People Meet to Plenty of Fish and even Grindr. And of course, as fate would have it at times, our dubious defendants were waiting for them. Take a look.
Plaintiff Paul Davis says he loaned his ex money for excess skin removal surgery, and a month later, they broke up. He's suing for a loan for surgery. Defendant Taylor Timmons says he doesn't owe any money because the plastic surgery was a gift between lovers.
Why don't we start from the beginning and tell me how you met the defendant and what happened here?
He reached out to me sometime towards the end of March of this year, first part of April, on an online app.
What app?
Grindr.
Okay.
So a online dating.
What is Grindr?
It is a male site for dating.
Were you looking to date an older man?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were looking for someone younger?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it's a 26-year age difference between the two of you?
Correct.
Okay. When does the issue of money first come up and why?
He came to me and asked if I would, initially, if I would co-sign for a loan for him to have some plastic surgery done. He had done a massive weight loss.
How much weight did you lose?
I've lost 175 pounds.
Wow, that's a lot. You submitted photos to
I
the
did.
court?
I have
May I
photos.
see them?
Yeah, of course. So on the left one, that's kind of my highest weight. I was 342. I was a size 46. And then the middle one is kind of that loose hanging skin on my stomach. It's called
Wow.
a circumferential tummy tuck. They go all the way around and remove it.
Well, how much was he asking you for?
Over $9,000.
30 days after you meet someone on Grindr, they ask you for over $9,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you think this is a good idea?
At the time, yes.
I always say, you know, when people meet on these dating apps and the issue of money comes up very early in the relationship, especially this significant amount of money, it's a red flag. I'd expect you to do a little bit more due diligence. I read your papers and you work in law enforcement.
That is
so as a
correct.
part of your job, how many years have you worked in law enforcement, sir?
30.
30 years. So you are a trained professional investigator.
Who got hoodwinked.
And you got bamboozled,
Yeah.
according to you, within 30 days of meeting
Yep.
this youngin' on Grindr. You brought a witness with you today?
Yes, I did.
You want to step up, ma'am? What do you have to add to this case? You work in law enforcement, too?
I'm retired.
Oh, so I'm sure you had a conversation with him about giving this young man over $9,000 after you just met him?
Yeah, we did have that conversation. Mr. Davis showed me Mr. Timmons' paperwork the next night after he had signed.
What paperwork?
He had signed a loan.
Oh, he signed a loan document agreement?
Yes,
Yep.
Your Honor, he did.
Really? You didn't mention that.
I did not mention that. It was in the
Any
midst of
particular
all of the
reason?
duress.
Because it's not good evidence for you?
That's the way it came about, and the way he's kind of portraying me is just not true.
Did he put a gun to your head and say, sign this? He works in law enforcement. Did
I
he
was
put a
gonna
gun
say
to your
he had a
head?
gun on the counter
Did
when
he
he
do that?
made me sign it.
Did he
so-
do that, sir?
He was in uniform, so...
Oh, he was in uniform. So you felt intimidated
Your
and
Honor,
threatened? Is that what you're telling
That is an
me?
absolute lie. He signed it that morning at the breakfast table.
So you were having coffee and croissants and you felt intimidated when he presented you with this document. That's what you're telling me?
Yep.
And being in law enforcement, you'd think that these discussions would happen. That's why I'm like, this is such an odd paper for me to sign.
What? You think he should have
Totally
grilled you
fake.
more? He should have interrogated you? What are you saying?
I don't know.
You're judging his technique now? Or you just saw it as another opportunity to get some money?
No, it's not what
Out of
happened.
Daddy Warbucks? I think everyone watching knows what happened. You took advantage of a situation, and I'm just a little in shock that you allowed that to happen. There's really no dispute that this was a loan. This is what happens sometimes. You don't use your best judgment, but we've all made those mistakes. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Coming up, Facebook brought these exes together, but life under the same roof separated them forever.
So you came home one night, you saying she was playing Marvin Gaye. You woke up dazed, confused, and you didn't understand.
I don't think it was an intimate encounter. I think it was an intoxication encounter.
Hi, I'm Judge Faith. Follow me on Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Plaintiff Monroe Bradford Larone says his part-time lover abruptly moved because she got jealous when he brought other girls home. He's suing for unpaid rent. Defendant Stephanie Hatton says she doesn't know because once she hooked up with Monroe, her offer to pay rent was off the table.
I met Stephanie on Facebook, on social media 3 years ago, 2012. She was a God-fearing person, a positive person, putting up positive message on Facebook.
You know, he inboxed me and was like, what's going on? You know, I've noticed you're going through some things. And I needed a friend, and he was a friend.
And he suggested you move in?
I told him that I needed to get out of the situation that I was in at the time.
Okay, and so what's the arrangement in terms of what she's going to pay to live?
The agreement was $400 a month.
Did she have a job?
At that time, she did not have a job.
So how was she going to pay you $400 a
She
month?
promised me that she was going to get a job, she was going to go fill out some applications. She was doing a lot of things, but she never did get a job. So her attitude started to change, you know what I'm saying? I started coming home, she started to try to act like we was married. Like, honey, is you home? I'm like, hold on a minute, honey. You know,
really?
Like, you know,
Well, the two of you were just friends?
We were just friends, but I come home, she want to start offering me massages and rubs. You know, I'm like, well, hold on a minute. You know what I'm saying? This is not that type of party.
So she was forcing food and massages on you?
Yeah. Your Honor.
I don't know many men that would turn it down, though.
I didn't accept any of the above, but one night I came home, she was playing some soft music, she had a little wine, and she was playing the violin for herself, and one thing led to another. The next day I woke up confused, lost.
So you came home one night, you saying she was playing Marvin Gaye. You woke up dazed, confused, and you didn't understand.
I don't think it was an intimate encounter. I think I was intoxicated. I think it was an intoxication encounter.
So was that a one-time only thing?
Yes.
Only one time?
That's
so
it.
Never happened again?
No, not that I'm aware of, Your Honor. No.
What do you mean not that you're aware of?
Because, Your Honor, sometimes when I come home, I be drunk or whatever, not sometimes, and I be sleeping. She tries to sneak in the room, and I don't know what she up to. I wake up, she in the room. I don't know what she...
Ma'am, why don't you tell me what's going on?
He would call me bae. So in my mind, I thought we was having a relationship. I thought this was going somewhere.
How often were you sleeping with him?
Often.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor. No.
I let you speak. It's her opportunity to speak. I let you tell your side.
Yes.
I want to hear her side. Go ahead, ma'am. How often were the two of you sleeping together?
At least twice a week. He did come to me in December and ask me about the money situation. He was like, Stephanie, look, you've been here now for these months. You haven't paid anything. I was like, look, I haven't found a job. I did tell him, look, I got an income tax check coming. We'll settle it up then. In January, come home, there's this girl in the house. I'm like, what's this? He was like, you ain't my woman? What is you talking about? I'm like, oh, really? Okay, so that's how we're gonna do things. So I'll be honest, February came. I took my income tax money and I left.
You know no one ever pays when they say they're going to pay you when they get their income tax check, right?
Your Honor, with all due respect, we didn't sleep together no twice, no week. I don't even
You
sleep...
said one time, sir. Clearly it was more than once. So you want to start fessing up and telling me what's
Your
going
Honor,
on?
I just want to tell you the truth.
I don't believe you. So now I want you to tell me the truth.
Okay, now, if I was intoxicated and she done probably took advantage of me while I was asleep or something, or doing some type of performing something on me while I'm, like, out of it.
That's what was going on. You were so drunk and she was taking advantage of you when you came home drunk.
Your Honor, I don't sleep with this woman. I don't go in her room. She always lurking in my room, always trying to,
the more
take
you talk,
advantage of me.
the harder it is for me to believe you.
Well, I'm just keeping it real with you right now.
No, you're not.
I told her, like, I don't want no relationship with you. There's no romance without finance.
That is what happens when you mix business with pleasure.
No, Your Honor.
You want to be a landlord or you want to be a lover, but you can't be both. You don't contest that you agreed to pay the $400 a month, do you?
No.
My judgment in this case is for the plaintiff. $400 a month at 7 months, that's $2,800 in back rent. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Coming up, a torrid Tinder affair ends with these exes wondering, should they have swiped left instead of right?
I'm just like, let me Google him. And I came across some really unfortunate Yelp reviews.
One day, you're gonna cross the wrong woman. Life will let you get away with some things for a time period, but eventually it all comes back around.
And later, a Black People Meet profile pulls a marriage proposal.
What do you think he's buying you a $2,000 ring for?
This is a gift. This is a gift. So when he bought the ring, I was just thinking he was buying me a gift.
Plaintiff Dr. Gabriela Carlos says her ex was a forever boyfriend until she realized he was a cheater and a con artist. She's suing for unpaid loans. Defendant Troy Grant says his ex took pleasure in paying his bills, and she only demanded repayment after they broke up.
Troy and I met on Tinder, which is like a really popular social dating app. For me, it was like love at first sight. I was so excited, and I'm like, God, he's so good looking, and I was in love, and I thought like he was too, and there was no reason for me to doubt if he wasn't with me. He'd be calling me 24/7. So when his initial request was to sponsor his, golf tournament.
And about how long after the two of you initially met and went on that first date do you say he approached you about playing in the golf tournament and you sponsoring him?
I believe we met January 7th, and I believe he asked me to sponsor him January 12th.
So what happens? He tells you about the golf tournament. Tell me about the conversation.
He never really asked me for money in person. It was always via text.
And then in addition to that, you found out that he didn't have money for the golf trip, so you gave him an additional $800?
Well, what happened was a few days prior to the golf tournament, he called me and had this elaborate, compelling story, and he was really upset. He had been...
What was the story?
At that time, I had an IRS audit. Therefore, I couldn't cover my expenses.
Because the audit had frozen your account, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had no access to funds.
Then you go on to give him another $600,
Right,
another
so
$500.
that's what I'm leading towards. And so I'd be like, okay, and already my intuition was kicking in, like something is not right.
Well, yeah, because you've already given him $700. He hasn't
Exactly.
paid that back. That's red flag. I mean, you meet someone online.
I'm aware.
Right? And a few weeks later, you give them $700. That's red flag number one.
Absolutely.
Days later, you give him $800. Red flag number two. Then you give him $600. Then you give him $500 for child support. How are these not red flags registering
They're
with
all
you?
red flags, and I did question him throughout the entire time.
And now you come to court because you want me now to fix all of this.
Right, after so many red flags, I am aware that something is not right. And I wake up and I'm just like, let me Google him, let me do some more research. And so I typed in his name and I came across some really unfortunate Yelp reviews of women that he had done the same thing prior to.
What do you mean by that?
There's a review there that you can read, and it was the initial review that alarmed me. It was the same exact story that had happened to me. This woman wrote the review and my heart dropped.
This guy is a professional scam artist. Do not trust anything he says. He convinces women and men to fund his fake golf tournament entry fees and promises to give you half of the winnings, but never comes through. Beware and do not be his next victim. Do you know who wrote that?
It was a girl I previously dated. Actually, I was dating her.
Did she give you money for a golf tournament?
Ha!
She knows because they became friends.
We're not friends.
What happened? You contacted this Yelp reviewer.
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
She confirmed that I had been scammed. We exchanged phone numbers, and I later found out that he actually met her on January 22nd, which is the day he was supposed to go on his golf tournament that I sponsored. And they also went on a date on Valentine's Day while we were together, and he was supposed to be babysitting. So he had a full-on 3-week relationship with this woman. She had red flags that were a little more alarming than mine, so she caught on really fast. Took me a little longer.
So you're dating him and he's not with you on Valentine's Day? Isn't that like red flag number 27?
Yes, it was.
But when you're dating, you're not with them. I'm single.
If you didn't have this Yelp review, I'm going to tell you right now, today would not have been a good day for you. One day, you're going to cross the wrong woman, and she's going to look at you and tell you like Celie from The Color Purple, everything you done to me already been done to you. Life will let you get away with some things for a time period, but eventually it all comes back around.
I understand.
For you, it's going to start today. She just has proof that you're a scam artist and a con. $2,900, judgment for the plaintiff. You need to stop scamming people, sir.
Plaintiff Luther Hester says when he gave his ex a ring, he believed they were engaged. He's suing for the cost of an engagement ring. Defendant Vicky Moore says she liked Luther but was not in love with him, and the ring was a gift.
Tell me what's going on. How did you meet the defendant?
I was on the internet, right, called blackpeoplemeet.com. So I was looking for...
That's an online dating site?
Yeah, online dating thing. I was looking for a wife. Like, I was reading profiles. So I ran across Miss Vicky Moore's profile, so it sounded good to me. Then I gave her a wink, so she went back. So then I sent her my phone number. That was in January.
So when he winked at you in January, did you tell him that you were on Black People Meet to meet a potential husband?
I date to meet a husband. I do desire to get married. But I had to get to know somebody before I get married. I ain't just jumping up and marrying nobody. March the 9th was our first date. He caught the train to my house. It was a good first date. I mean...
Leading up to that, you had several phone conversations,
We
right?
had a lot of phone conversations.
And you would talk for hours at a time?
Every day since February the 23rd.
Oh, every day, okay.
Every day.
And what did you do the first day together?
We went to Best Buy. He bought me a Samsung tablet. Then we went and got my car washed. We went to lunch. Then we went shopping. I went and bought me some suits. I bought my own suits. And then we was in the mall, and then we went to the jewelry store. And that's when he bought the ring.
Now that I know that you purchased this ring the first day the two of you met, you had been talking to her every day on the phone. When you showed up at that point, were you in love with her?
Yes.
You were. And did you
Yes.
tell her that?
Yes.
And did you feel the same way about him?
No.
Okay. So you're just walking by a jewelry store? There was no plan to go?
It had came up a while when we be talking on the phone every day that we gonna get married again and we got to get engaged and get married and all. So we went to get our ring signed. What we gonna get our ring signed for? So to get married and engaged.
Did you propose to her?
Every time I get back, I tell her I gotta take the ring off and get on my knee. She'll holler, no. We ain't never time, it ain't that time. So it looked like to me, it was I'd ask her there at the service time to take off her ring so I could get on my knee, propose to her. No. Every time, no. And left like that.
So that's why you didn't do the official proposal,
Right,
you're saying?
yes,
okay,
ma'am.
and what do you think he's buying you a $2,000 ring for?
You know, I think that he liked me. He was buying me gifts. Part of my profile says I'm looking for somebody who's generous, who shares. I thought that he was trying to show me that part of it. It's not unusual. I get flowers, I get gifts. This is a gift. This is a gift. I mean, so when he bought the ring, I was just thinking he was buying me a gift.
Coming up, more Judge Faith favorites. And now, more Judge Faith favorites.
Let's think about this for a second. This is the first time the two of you are meeting. This is a ring, and it's a $2,000 ring that he's buying you. You have to know something's up. The two of you are not dating anymore, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, as crazy as some people may think it is, when you meet someone on the first date, the two of you have been talking every day. I'm not going to hold it against him that he acted too quickly, but I think that he purchased the ring because he thought he was going to marry you and you would not accept his proposal. No. And under the law, if someone gives you a ring in contemplation of marriage and the marriage doesn't actually take place, then legally you have to return the ring. You want to keep the ring? Okay, I'm going to order you to pay $2,000 to the plaintiff, the value of the ring. Sir, do you know who Kanye West is? I'm just going to give you some advice going forward when you're on these sites. Find someone who loves you like Kanye loves Kanye. Yeah. And then you're going to be okay. $2,000, judgment for the plaintiff. I hope you've enjoyed this special edition of Judge Faith. The internet has opened up our world in so many great ways, but it can also introduce us to people and situations we would never entertain in our everyday lives. Take your time getting to know a person before you meet them, and especially before you decide to get more serious. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, thanks for watching.
If you or someone you know has a dispute, don't take the law into your own hands. Let Judge Faith rule on it for you. To submit your case, go to judgefaith.com and tell us your story. See you in court.